and finalization of GSTR-9 and 9C, which is really very important, especially for this Feb month, when we know this last date, the due date for filing your GSTR-9 and 9C is 28th Feb. But before we even start our today's session, I just want to see if you all are able to hear me or not. So if you are able to hear me, just say hi on the chat box. Great. So it seems like everyone is able to hear us. So in that particular case, we'll just start our sessions on preparation and finalization of GSTR-9 and 9C. So see, whenever we just talk about 9 and 9C, one important part which was specially related to this FY 2021 was about the 9C, which is reconciliation statement. So earlier we have to certify that from a chartered accountant or a cost accountant, but now that condition is itself removed. So which means we can even do a self-certification. We ourselves can prepare and file the 9C, which is really very important. And we should actually understand about all the checklist, all the complications which we are going to face while we are even preparing 9C. And also before that, we have to see whether all the adjustments which was required were part of GSTR-9 or not, right? But let's first understand about the basic and then we'll go in detail. So if I just talk about the annual returns, so annual returns and obviously its applicability. So we know that this annual return, there could be a lot of different kind of taxpayers. So there could be a normal taxpayer, there could be a composition dealer, there could be a non-resident, there could be an e-commerce operator. So everyone have to file some kind of annual return, but the form for them are different. But in today's session, we are just going to focus on the regular taxpayer. So if you are registered as a regular taxpayer, in that particular case, you are required to file GSTR-9 and 9C basis your turnover. So we have to first look into the turnover. Accordingly, we'll know like whether we are even required to file the 9 or we are not even required to file. And in the same way, whether we are even required to file 9C or we are not required to file 9C. So let's talk about only FY 2021. So let's focus on the particular financial area, which is FY 2021, and focus on GSTR-9 and 9C, which is for the regular taxpayer. So if I just talk about GSTR-9, right? In general, if you would have asked me, I would have said, okay, every regular taxpayer has to file GSTR-9. That's in general. But now we are focused on FY 2021. So which means if your turnover is up to 2 crore, in that particular case, it's optional for you. You may choose to still go ahead and file your 9. But if you feel, no, I don't want to file, you can even skip that. So it's not a mandatory thing for you. But if your turnover is more than 2 crore, in that particular case, you are mandatory required to file this GSTR-9, right? Now, if we just talk about 9C, again, if your turnover is up to 5 crore, right? In that particular case, again, it's kind of an optional thing. You may always choose to file it, but if you want to skip, again, you can skip it. But if your turnover is more than this more than 5 crore, right? In that particular case, you are required to mandatory file this 9C. It's a self-certification reconciliation statement where it's a reconciliation between the financial statement and your GSTR-9. And the differences, you have to tell why there's a difference, because obviously there can be a differences. Some of the reason could be branch transfer. Let's say I'm transferring from one GSTN to another GSTN under the same PAN. Obviously, if we look into financial statement, that is not even considered as a turnover. But when it comes to GST return, we obviously have to take that as a part of turnover, and we also pay the GST on top of that. There could be other kind of things also, maybe for example, advanced receipt. When we talk about advances we received in respect of services, we pay GST on that. But when it comes to your turnover as per financial statement, we don't consider that as a turnover unless we book it as a sales. So there are differences. There are obviously genuine reasons why there's a difference between the financial statement turnover and the GST turnover. But we should know why there is a difference, and we need to even tell the reasons for that differences. So that is, I think, that's a reconciliation statement which we show in our GSTR-9C. Right? So this was just a basic, just a brief about who are actually required to file 9 and 9C, which means to whom this is not applicable. If you're a casual taxable person or an ISD or a non-resident taxable person or a person who is required to file GSTR-7 or a person who is required to file GSTR-8 or a person who have opted for composition scheme, to all this person, this 9 and 9C is not applicable. Now, what if I don't file it? Assume my turnover is more than 2 crore. I was required to file this GSTR-9, but I have not filed by this due date, which is 28th Feb 2022. What are the consequences? So here we know if we don't file GSTR-1 or if we don't file GSTR-3B, there's a late fees attached to it. And along with that, when it comes to 3B, we also have to pay interest because there's some liability due, right? In the same way, when we don't file 9 or 9C, and if it is applicable to us, in that particular case, again, there is a late fees which is attached to us, and that late fees is 200 rupees per day. But there is a subject to maximum amount of quota, which is 0.25% of turnover in a particular state. So that's a maximum amount of the late fees we are required to pay. Now we just talked about the normal part, like applicability part, what are the consequences and all. Now let's focus on the entire form. And I know we are already filing for 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20. And now it's year 2021 for which you are required to file your GSTR-9. So most of you actually understands about the entire form of GSTR-9. You know about the different tables of GSTR-9, but let's focus on the complexities. Let's focus on the important points which you are required to consider while we are filing GSTR-9. So here, this is the form. So this is your annual report, which is GSTR-9. And if we divide this GSTR-9, there are mainly 6 parts. There is part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, and the part 6. First part is very easy. It's just a basic detail. It will ask for what is the GSTR number, what is the financial year, what is legal name or the trade name. That is a basic information. You can easily fill it. So there is no problem. In fact, this is auto-computed. Second part is which asks for detail of outward supplies and the inward supply, which is liable to reverse charge. Right? In short, if you ask me, it all mainly talks about the liability part and your sales wala part. Then there is a part 3 which talks about the ITC which you have availed or maybe you have reversed. Reversed could be, there could be credit note, there could be this rule 42, 43 ka ITC reversal. So all that information comes under part 3. Then there is a part 4. It talks about mainly the taxes which you have paid. Right? Then the part 5 is some amendments or additions or any adjustments which was related to your FY 2021 but you have done in the next year. All that adjustments form part of your part number 5. Then there's a last part, part 6, which just talks about other information like demands information, refund information, or it could be HSN summary. Anyhow, you don't have to worry about part 6 too much because in fact, every information in part number 6 is optional. So you just don't have to worry about that. But now just for the simplification purpose, because now we have to actually prepare GSTR-9. So for simplification purpose, we have just divided this into 3 parts. One is related to liability and the taxes paid, because now where we are going exactly, we just want, even if we just have a very short time period, how can we easily file and prepare your GSTR-9 without making errors? Why I'm saying without making errors? Because for even preparation or filing your GSTR-9, the accuracy is a major concern. Because once you have filed GSTR-9, you cannot revise it. Let's say most of the people would have seen in income tax filing. So when we just see like ITR, we say, oh shit, we are already on the last day, what to do in this particular case? We don't have enough time and we have to file for so many clients, or maybe there are a lot of returns which you are required to file. What to do? So many people just end up, okay, I know at least estimated, I have not completed my all the workings. They just file basis that estimated. But at the later stage, they just file a revised return. So there is an option to file the revised return in income tax, right? But that's not the case for your GSTR-9 and 9C, which means if you have filed something wrong, you can't revise it. There is no option available. So it's very important for you that you review it thrice before even filing your 9 and 9C, because that's your final return which cannot be changed, which cannot be amended. Right? So for that, we always refer to some of the checklists which help you in making sure that your written, whatever you are filing, is accurate and there is no error at all, that is free of errors. Right? So for that, we have done, we have just divided the different tables of GSTR-9 into 3 parts. The first table consists of liability and the taxes paid. Second table consists of ITC and its reversals. And so this is how we have divided this. So if I just talk about the first part, right, which is your liability and the taxes paid. So let's just focus on that. So if we just talk about the liability and the taxes paid, here what are the tables which we are going to focus now? There is table number 4 and 5, there is table number 9, there is table number 10, table number 11 and table number 14. So these are the tables which are now relevant when it comes to liability and the taxes paid, which means whatever the liability you are required to pay, be it the liability on the outward supplies or inward supplies liable to reverse charge, wherever you are required to pay any liability to the government or there's an outward supply. Now you will be like, okay, what that means? Obviously, there could be cases like exempted supplies and all, where it's an outward supply, but you don't have to pay any liability. Again, that will form part of your table number 4 and 5. Right? So now we are going to focus on the first part, which is liability and the taxes paid, where you have table number 4, table number 5, table number 9, table number 10, table number 11 and table number 14. So we are just going to focus on all of this table. Right? Now, if I just talk about table number 4, it actually asks for some breakups. It shows, okay, tell me what is your B2C, what is your B2B, what is zero rated supply, what is supplies to SEZ on payment of taxes, then deemed export. You just look into table number 4, it is nothing. All the sections where you have actually paid some liability will come here. Then table number 5 is nothing but it's all your outward supplies. If you just look into that, there's all your outward supplies where there was no liability, like zero rated supplies is under LUT or supply to SEZ under LUT, or maybe exempted supplies or nil rated supply, or maybe yours says but other party was liable to pay the taxes on that. In that particular case, all that will form part of your table number 5. So this was table number 4, table number 5. So what we refer, table 4, table number 5. Then the next table we refer to table number 9. 9 may what exactly they are saying? Okay, just tell me that how you have paid that taxes. So it's just showing taxes paid through cash and through ITC. So just show me whatever the liability you are showing, how you have discharged that liability. So what was the payment through cash and what is the payment through ITC? And here it also show the tax payable wala part. Just make sure this is an auto populated information. You cannot edit it. Right? Why I'm saying this, we are going to discuss this in detail about particular part. Then there is table number 10 and table number 11. What exactly that means? All the adjustments which was related to FY 2021, but you have done in the next year, will form part of your table number 10 and 11. If there was an increase in the liability, show in table 10. If there's a decrease in the liability, just show in table number 11. So that is what your table 10 and 11 is. And table 14 is nothing but whatever the liability you have shown in table number 10 and 11, you would have discharged in the next year, right? So that information you are going to show in table number 14, that how much taxes was payable and how much taxes was paid. It's similar to table number 9, right? Table number 4 may whatever the liability you have shown, that should have been paid in table number 9. Similarly, whatever you have shown in 10 and 11 should have been shown in table number 14. Now I understand there would be too much information and you're like, okay, this is too much. Can we just clarify? Can we make sure our returns are filed correctly? What are the things we are required to even look into it? Should we look into GSTR-1 or should we look into 3B or should we look into books of accounts, right? So this were the sum of the query you would have right now in your mind, like how to even prepare it. Can you just tell us ki I should refer books, I should refer my GSTR-1 or should I refer my GSTR-3B? Right? Because these are the three sources when it comes to liability and the taxes paid. So now the simple answer to this particular part is, here when I'm just talking about liability and the taxes paid, what I'm going to refer? For liability and the taxes paid, I have three sources: GSTR-1, GSTR-3B or books of account. These are the three sources, right? If I just look into the breakups which they were asking, ideally this breakup is not even there in my GSTR-3B directly. Right? They may have some information, but that's a summarized information. But I need something which I can directly show, but that's available in GSTR-1. So now should I go and look into 1? But we also understand that if you have shown something in GSTR-1 doesn't mean that the entire liability has been paid in your GSTR-3B also. There are chances that there is a differences between your 1 and 3B. Right? So now answer to all of your query. Like, see, if there is no differences between 1, 3B and the books of account, there is no problem at all. You can easily prepare and file your GSTR-9. And how you are going to show the liability? All your liability, which is related to the current financial year, has to be shown in the table number 4 and 5 of your GSTR9 with the breakdown. Breakdowns you can always get it from your books of account, right? So now here, but the bigger question comes in, what if there is a difference? Because that's the important part we should understand, and there we need some help, like how to even show all that adjustments, right? So now one important part which you should always understand, first, that the liability is always discharged using your GSTR 3B, right? So if there was some liability which was related to FY 2021, and you have also discharged that liability in the same financial year, liability related to FY 2021, and you have also discharged that liability in the same FY 2021, then that will form part of your table number 4 and 5, right? If there was some liability which was related to FY 2021, but you have discharged in the next year, that has to be shown in your table number 10 or 11. What does this mean? See, here also make sure, sometimes this could also be a case where you have paid extra amount in FY 2021, but you have reduced subsequently in the next year. Then that will also form part of your table number 11, right? Because the adjustment for this particular financial year was done in the next year, right? So how we are doing that? If there was some liability which was related to FY 2021 and also shown in your GSTR 3B for the same year, show that in table number 4 and 5. Liability which is related to the current year but has been adjusted in the next year, then show in table number 10 or 11. If there was some liability which was related to current year but you have not discharged till now, you have not even paid. Sometime what happens, I missed uploading some invoices and obviously discharging the liability in my GSTR 3B. In that particular case, if something is missed, you have not even shown in the next year or in the current year, then that particular information will form part of your table number 4. Now people may always ask, what if there was some liability which was related to previous financial year, right, which is 1920, but I had discharged that liability in my current financial year, in my GSTR 3B of the current financial year. Do I need to report that information anywhere in my GSTR 9 for FY 2021? The answer is no. If there was some turnover which was shown, of the liability for which was discharged in the current financial year, which is FY 2021, that information will not, we don't even have to show that information in your GSTR 9 of FY 2021, because that information will only form part of your GSTR 9 of the previous financial year, right? So which means ultimately when you combine your table number 4 plus table number 5 plus table number 10 minus table number 11 and removing that inward supplies liable to RCA, because that's my inward, not an outward. If you remove that part, ultimately this turnover should match with your books of account. You're getting what I mean to say? When I'm saying books of account, obviously GST turnover as per your books of account, and this whatever you have filed in your GST return should always match, and there should not be any discrepancies. So this is your first checklist. So what you have done, table 4 plus 5 plus 10 minus table number 11, removing that inward supplies liable to RCM because that's my purchases, so I don't have to consider that. That turnover should match with my current books of accounts ka turnover. If it is matching, which means you have done correctly, you have shown your liability correctly in your GSTR 9 form, right? So I think we got that part about the liability part. So I would like to understand if you got the liability part, like how to discharge your liability part or how to show the liability and the turnover information in your GSTR 9 form. So you can just put on the chat box if you all are able to understood about this. Okay, I got the answer from, I got the reply from Chandradeep, who is saying, okay, he got it. What about others? Milap says, okay. Great. So everyone is able to understood this part. So let's understand this in detail by using case study. Let's see whether you have actually understood it or it's just a very theoretical thing and still you have such doubt. But before that, also let me tell about different sections, because we usually get confused about, okay, I know that there are a lot of details. There are some B2C section, B2B section, there is zero rated supplies, then there is supplies to asset. We can show all that breakdowns. But when we look into table number 4 itself, there is some this amendments and all also. Do we need to show that breakdowns? See, we don't have to. This is an optional fields. And there was a proper clarification which was given that you can always merge this information in this table itself. And that is what I will also recommend, that when it comes to B2C, if the amendments has been done in the same financial year, better you just merge it and just show it over here only. You just take care of only one simple part. If liability related to the current financial year have been discharged in the current financial year GSTR 3B, just show in table number 4 and just show it like total B2C is this, total B2B is this, total zero rated is this. Just show in this table itself. Don't show the breakups over here, because this will unnecessarily complicate your GST narrator and will confuse you. Anyhow, it's an optional field, and department himself, they have clarified that you can just put this information here itself. Right, so this is about table number 4. Similarly, when it comes to like your table number 5 also, you don't even have to show breakup. Okay, what is the nil rated non-GST? Just merge all and just show under the exempted. So it will literally solve your problem, and it will not complicate your GST returns. Right. So this is about table number 4, table number 5. And when we talk about table number 9, because see, there is a tax payable and there is a tax payments. This is auto computed fields, and there might be a possibility that your payable and paid may there is a difference. So here actually there is also one more column called tax payable. So tax payable is auto populated and it should exactly match with what is coming from your table number 4, right? So it should match, the tax payable should match. The second checklist we are referring here. The liability which you have shown in table number 4 should just match with the tax payable you are going to show in table number 9. That is okay that in the payment part there is a mismatch. And why would there be even mismatch? Very simple reason. There was some liability which was related to previous financial year, but you have discharged in the current financial year, which means liability related to 1920 you discharge in 2021. In that particular case, in table number 4, you're not going to show that information. So in tax payable part, that information will not be shown. But when it comes to payment part, because ultimately in 3B, though it will be shown that as a payment part, that information will come over here, but that's okay. You know that why there is a difference, right? And that difference will automatically be matching with your GST9 of the last financial year. So you don't have to worry about that. Just make sure table 9 में tax payable वाले portion में you always have to show the tax payable as per your table number 4, right? So this is the another important checklist we should understand. Then again, when it comes to table number 10 and 11, though it is optional field, right? I showed you in table number 4 also, there was some information which was optional, and I said that don't fill that. It's okay. Just merge into B2C, B2B and just show it. But when it comes to table number 10 and table number 11, even though it is optional, I would always recommend to fill this information. This will help you in actually knowing that what were the adjustments which was related to current financial year and has been adjusted in the next financial year. And this will always help you. In fact, in tomorrow, even if you receive some notice and all, you would know that how much adjustments was done in the next financial year. So it's recommended to always fill table number 10 and 11. And how you're going to get that information? All the turnover, the liability which was related to FY 2021, but you have discharged the liability or reduced the tax, either increased or reduced the tax in the next financial year, then just show that information in your table number 10 or table number 11. And accordingly, the payment, because you have again made the payment using 3B, just show in that table number 14. Right, so this was about table number 10 and table number 10, 11 and 14. Right, so we have done with the liability and the taxes part. We talked about table 4, table 5, table 9, table 10, table number 11 and table number 14. Mainly 4, 5, 9 related to liability related to current financial year, discharge in current financial year. 10, 11, 14 is like related to current financial year, discharge in the next financial year. Let's understand with the help of case study. Let's see how much you understood, and I think you are going to answer this. Let's see first example. There was a in FY 2021 books made, the liability was 100, in GSTR1 also 100, 3B also it was 100, right? In which particular table of GSTR9 form you are going to show this information? So I'm just waiting for your reply. You can just reply on the chat box. In which particular table of GSTR9 you are going to show this information? I got the reply from Jay, shows G4, Bhaskar 4, Pradeep 4, Suhas 5, some G4 and 5. I think yes, everyone is saying table number 4 and 5, which is perfectly okay because this information needs to be shown in number table and 4 and 5, and accordingly in table number 9 also under tax payable, right? So here, because the liability related to current financial year, discharge in the current financial year, this information needs to be shown in table number 4 or 5, depending on whether it's a taxable or exempted, and also in table number 9 under tax payable wala section, right? Let's go with the, so here if you just see here, table number 4, we have to just show this information. Now let's just talk about the second wala part. Here what happened, there was a liability in the, as per your books, it was 100, GSTR-1 may also 100, but in 3B, you have discharge liability of only 80, which was related to current financial year, April 20, March 21. And the remaining 20 liability you discharge in the next financial year. So in April 21, September 21, while you are filing 3B, you realize that you made a mistake and you have also paid off that liability along with the interest. Now my question to you, how much liability you are going to show in table number 4, 5 or 10 or 11? And for now, just assume 4 and 5 are same for me because anyhow it's related to current financial year. So you can just tell me how much information you showed in table number 4, 10 or 11. So that is what I need from you. Hemant says table number 10 may we have to show 20, and Ranjit says 100. Okay, Ranjit, but where exactly we have to show 100? Pradeep says 4 may 80 and 10 may 20. Rakesh says 100. Okay. Milap says 100, table number 4 may. Okay. Sarika says 10. Okay. So Has says table 4 show 80 and table number 10 may show 20. Okay. So here the simple answer is that what I said, liability related to current financial year paid in the current financial year needs to be shown in table number 4. Liability related to current financial year paid in the next year needs to be shown in table number 10. Which means this 80 rupees, because it is related to current financial year, discharge in the current financial year, we are going to show in table number 10. And 20 rupees, because related to current financial year but discharge in the next financial year, we are going to show in table number 10. And I think most of you have answered it correctly. So this shows that you understood it perfectly. So let's go to the next thing. So this is what we have to show. Table 4 may just show 80. Table 10 may just show 20 rupees. Right? Let's just talk about the third one. So here again, you see book says GSTR-1 and GSTR-3B. Liability as per the books was 100 rupees for FY 2021. In GSTR-1, you just showed 80 rupees and the other information you have shown 20 rupees in the next financial year. But in 3B, you discharged it correctly. So which was 100, so which means liability from April 20 to March 2021. In GSTR-3B, you showed 100. Now again, the same question, how much you're going to show in table number 4 or table number 10 and 11. I could see Pradeep says 100, Charanji say 100 in table 4, Manoj says table 4, Sarika says table 4. Yes, perfectly okay. Everyone is, I think everyone understood about this. This is the right answer because liability related to current financial year, discharge in GSTR-3B of the current financial year. So we are going to show the entire 100 rupees in table number 4. So that's the correct answer and that is correctly answered also. Right, so this is how we have to show in table number 4. We have to show the entire 100 rupees. Just let's talk about the another one. What I have done, I have shown the wrong turnover, though the liability was correctly shown. But I have made a mistake while I was filing and I could not correct it because, you know, if you just look into GSTR-3B, when I was making some adjustment, I was not able to do that. So what I've done in, if you just look into this, I had a turnover of, let's say 10,000, the liability of 100 rupees. And in GSTR-3B, I discharged that 100 rupees ka liability, but turnover, I just showed 9,000 rupees. You know that there is no validation on the government portal. We can always do that. Now, my question to you is, how much you are going to show in table number 4 or 10 or 11? So how much turnover you're going to show? Liability, I understood that you're going to show 100 rupees. So you will be showing table 4 may entire amount, which is 100 rupees, which is perfectly okay. What about turnover? How much turnover you're going to show in GSTR-9 ka form? I could see the answer from Sarika says 10,000, Pradeep says 10,000 table 4, Ashish says 10,000 table number 4, Vivek says 10,000, Siddhi says 10,000. Yes, perfectly okay. So actually, this is the right answer. So we are going to show the entire 10,000 because that's my correct liability or the correct turnover, right? So 100 rupees is the correct liability and 10,000 is my correct turnover. So I'm going to show the correct turnover. It's okay, I made mistake while I was filing my 3B, but while I'm filing my GSTR-9, I'm going to show the correct turnover, which means 10,000 rupees I'm going to show in my table number 4 of GSTR-9. So it seems like everyone is able to understand, or maybe they know that from starting. Okay, let's just talk about the next one. This time what I have done, while I was because there was some credit note, there was some sales credit note, I have not shown that, I forgot to show that. So my turnover as per my books of account was 100 rupees, but what I have done in April 22 March 2021, I have shown 110 rupees, but I realized my mistake and I have adjusted that in the next year. So 10 rupees I have adjusted in the next year. Now again the same question, how much you're going to show in table number 10 or maybe table number 11 or table number 4 of your GSTR-9 form. So I think you can see it, what exactly is your turnover as per your books of account, how much you have shown in 1 and how much you have shown in 3B. So my question is how much you're going to show in table number 4 or table number 10 or table number 11 of GSTR-9 form. I could see the answer from Rakesh is table number 10 may 10, Sarika says table 400, table number 11 may 10, Jay says table 400, table 11 10, Ulas says okay, I think I'm getting answer, but people are making some small mistake over here. So before I answer, right, one important point which I had mentioned, right, what I said that first topmost checklist for you, and why I'm saying checklist because that is going to make sure that you are not making mistakes, right? And what was that checklist? That turnover as per table number 4 plus table number 5 plus table number 10 minus table number 11 and reducing that inward supplies liable to RCM will always match with your books of account. That is what I said, right? And I'm getting some answers that in table number 4 you show 100, table number 11 may you just show 20. Now if you just do that, what will happen as per our checklist? 100 minus 20, 80. Whether this 80 is matching with my books of account? The answer is no. So which means we are making some mistake here. How we have to show this? Now what we are going to show in table number 4, I am going to show 110, right? What I'm showing? Table number 4 may just show 110 and in table number 11, you just show that 10 rupees. So ultimately that 110 minus 10 becomes your 100. So that is now matching, right? So I think Chintan just asked, like, can you just repeat the checklist? So see, it's very simple. Turnover as per table number 4 plus table number 5 plus table number 10 minus table number 11 and reducing that inward supply is liable to RCM, which was there in table number 4, because that's your purchases, right? So we should not consider that. So removing that, that turnover should always match with your books of accounts. Obviously, when I'm saying match, that is a GST turnover which we are referring when we are looking into books of accounts also, right? So this is something which we should always make sure while we are even filing or preparing your GSTR-9. So this will help you in always like reducing the errors, and you should not end up making any mistakes. Now let's talk about. So this was the answer. Table number 4 may just show 110 and table number 11 may just show 10. So ultimately table 4 plus 10 minus 11 becomes 100. This is the another one. Here you have not adjusted it. Again, turnover as per your books of account is 100. 3B may what you have done in April 20 to March 21 may you showed 120 and you have not even adjusted in the next month or next year, sorry, not next month. So you have not adjusted that in the next year. How you are going to show this information in different tables of GSTR-9? I got an answer from one of the person, Darshani, Dharani. Dharani says table number 4 may just show 100. Pradeep shows table 4 120, table 11 20. Siddhi says table number 4 may show 100 rupees. Okay, what about others? Ashish says table 4 may 100 and 11 may 20, minus 20. Okay, I'm getting different answer, and I think you are actually to the mark. See here, since we have not adjusted anything, so one important part I said, right? If you remember what I said, if there was some additional liability, I gave one simple example, right? If there was some additional liability and you missed paying that, And when you have missed it, you have not paid in the current year as well as you have not paid in the next year. Where we are going to show that additional liability? Table number 4, right? Same thing will even happen for some kind of credit note or the reversals of my, I would say, liability, where I'm reducing the liability. If I have not reduced that liability at all, either in the current year or the next year, I forgot to do that, I've overpaid it. In that particular case, we should only show the liability which matches with our books of account, which means in this particular case, we should only show 100 rupees in table number 4, right? We have to make use of table number 10 and 11 only when there was some liability which was related to current financial year and has been discharged in the next financial year. If it is not discharged or adjusted, right, sometimes obviously we are reducing also, if it is not added or maybe adjusted in the next financial year, then we'll not make use of table number 10 and 11, and we'll just show what is the turnover as per my books of account, and which obviously is related to current financial year in table number 14, right? So table number 4. I could see one question from Shailesh who is saying, what about excess paid of 20? So Shailesh, here, whatever the excess paid, right? So in that particular case, what we have to do, in your, either you just in GSTR-3B, right? Because anyhow this is gone. So maybe for the next FY, because you have not adjusted till September ka month, right? In that particular case, either you have to go and ask for the refund, but anyhow, and how you will get the refund, because you will know that in GSTR-9 you have shown your accurate turnover and the accurate liability, which should always match with your GST returns or books of account. But what is the recommended thing, right? Where we should make sure, because anyhow for now, if you have to do any adjustment related to FY 2021, you could have do all that adjustment only till September month, and it's already lapsed. So if you do it now, that's the only option. If they want extra liability, pay using DRC 03, and if there is something where you feel okay, you have overpaid it, just get the refund separately. That's the only option available. But at least from the next years, right, especially when you go ahead and file for or prepare for FY 21-22, please just try to do that before September month only, so that if there are some adjustments to be made, you can do in the GSTR-3B for the September month itself, right? So that is always recommended. In fact, not September. Why to even wait till September? Just do it in the March month itself, so that while you are finalizing your books, right, all adjustments can be done in the same financial year, and you don't get into all such complexity. But for now, since this is gone and you don't have enough time period, so that's already lapsed, so you can always do all adjustment either through DRC 03 or get the refund from the government. Okay, so this is about the another case study. Now let's just go to the next one. So I think this was an answer in table number 4, just show 100, right? So we just talked about the liability part. So here we were just focused on what, which was a liability and our turnover. And maybe I will just take a pause for 1 minute over here and would like to understand from our viewers here. If you have any queries related to liability part, you can just ping on the chat box. I could see one query from Vinod who is asking, what about credit notes wrongly mentioned in ITC instead of reducing the tax amount? So here, Vinod, if you have wrongly shown that credit note under the ITC instead of reducing the tax amount, so this is nothing but this is a kind of case where you have overpaid it, right? So while you are filing your GSTR-9, just show the actual liability as per your books of account under your table number 4. So that is how you are required to show this information while you are filing your GSTR-9, right? Again, another question I could see from Siddhi, who is asking, what about RCM shown in liability part, how to remove it? Okay, so I could not understand, Siddhi, like, do you want to understand, like, you have wrongly paid some liability under the reverse charge and you want to remove it? Or this is how you want to show this information in your GSTR-9? So, okay, so I think your question is like, you have wrongly paid it. So if you have wrongly paid it, again, while you're making or you're preparing your GSTR-9, just file the accurate return. So even if you have wrongly paid in GSTR-3 and you are not able to adjust in the next financial year, here while you're filing your GSTR-9, just show if that was not even a liability at all, just show 0 under the inverse applied liable to RCM. So that is how you are required to show the information. Other query I could see from Chintan, who is asking GSTR-1 on the higher side, but corrected in GSTR-3B. Chintan, if information is correctly filed in your GSTR-3B, so first, obviously, Best part is you should also correct your GSTR1 also on time. So till at least next September return period, you should make all the amendments, all the adjustment, so that at least your 1, 3B and books of account, all of these three should match. But still assume that you have not done any correction in GSTR1 and it is shown at a higher side. Don't worry. While you are filing your GSTR9, just file basis your GSTR3B and the books of account. So that is how you should do it. There would be some mismatches. Just make a note of that mismatch and put under the documentation, so that tomorrow, even if you get the notice, because obviously there are chances that you are going to get the notice, you should know that there was something which was wrongly shown. And whatever the wrong information shown in GSTR1 that will not match with your books of account, you should know the document which was wrongly shown in your GSTR1 but was not part of your books of account. So you should just have a proper reconciliation between these three, so that ultimately this can be used as a documentation for you. Other question I could see from Rakesh, who is saying, if tax is paid via DRC03, same will be added in table number 9. No, Rakesh. If any taxes which you are paying through DRC03. So first important part over here is, if you look into table number 9, there is true information which talks about taxes paid in cash and taxes paid through ITC, but that is not editable at all. So first thing, you can't even edit your table number 9. There is a tax payable wala part which you can edit it, but tax payable should always match with table number 4. And here you are talking about taxes paid, not payable, right? So first thing, table number 9 mein this information will not even come. There will be differences between the tax payable and the paid, but that will be paid through DRC03. But payment which you have made through DRC03 will not be reflected anywhere in your GSTR9. So this is another important point. So now this brings our another important checklist. And what is that checklist over here? That checklist simply says, here first checklist was related to how to show the payable part, how to show the taxes which was payable and the turnover as per your books of account. The second important checklist talks about the payment part also. Payable minus paid always should be equal to 0. And how that is going to match. See, simply part, whatever your information you are showing, right? So tax payable as per your table number 9, which actually matches with table number 4 and 5 only. So tax payable as per table number 9, which is equivalent to your table number 4 and 5, plus table number 10 minus table number 11 of current financial year, right? So which means, in short, if I just say table 4 plus 5 plus 10 minus table number 11 of GSTR9 form, right? Plus table number 11 of your previous year ka GSTR9 form, and minus table number 10 of previous year ka GSTR9 form. You're getting what I mean to say? Table number 4 plus table number 5 plus table number 10 minus table number 11 of the current financial year, then minus table number 10 of the previous financial year GSTR9 form, plus table number 11 of the previous financial year your GSTR9 form, right? If you do that, and minus payment made through DRC03 should always be equal to 0. If that is matching, then which means everything is perfectly okay and you don't have to worry about anything. So which means now the another important checklist to make sure the tax payable minus paid is equal to 0 is this one, so that you don't get any notices and you know that you have discharged your liability properly. So this is another important point which you should always keep in your mind while you are preparing your GSTR9. And when we talk about spatially, this is spatially in respect of the whether the payments has been done correctly or not, right? Now, this was all about the liability part. And anyhow, see, you just don't have to worry about this all checklist, because whatever the checklist I'm even referring to, right? So if you're already using ClearTax, so here this checklist already forms part of your GSTR9 form of ClearTax. So in ClearTax, we already provide you 19-point checklist, and this is auto prepared. So whenever you, anyhow, your GSTR9 form is auto filled. So first part is this, your GSTR9 form will be auto filled. But even if you make some adjustment as per you feel, okay, this is something I want to make it. So if you make, so automatically that 19-point checklist will show you that there is some discrepancies or there is some differences. So you just have to review that. If you review that, accordingly make the correction in your GSTR9 form. That is how you will make sure that your returns are correctly filed. And at the same time, because I could see there were a lot of queries, what if there is a differences and all. So we also provide you one GSTR9 form, and that form, the GST9 even you can download in an Excel file that will show the differences between your one, the books, and GSTR3B at a summary level as well as a month on month level. So you can always see the differences also along with the calculation trail, because the another important point and where we always make mistake, we put some figure in. Let's say I have kept some figure under B2C, let's say there is 1 lakh rupees, but how that even came into picture, right? How would I know, okay, what are the document level information against the same? Or let's say there's B2B of something, but I just don't know what are the document that consist of this information. Today, okay, I have filed, I was aware about that, I remember all this thing. But tomorrow, maybe after 4 5 years, when department suddenly issues the notices, I just don't know what to do. So I don't even remember now how I have filled this information. If I have done some adjustment, I don't remember about that adjustment. If I have kept something information maybe in table 10 11, I just don't remember all this. So that also provide you calculation trail, so that you can always look into the calculation trail and make such adjustment. Anyhow, we have Kritika from our team. She will be explaining and showing that you live, so that you understand about all this thing. But now before that, let's move to the ITC section, and I know that's another important part where you would have lot of queries and lot of questions. So we just talked about liability, right? Now second important part. Second important part is your ITC and the reversals. Again, we have divided here. There are different sections, different tables. So there is table number 6, table number 7, table number 8, table 12, and table number 13. So these are the main tables which is related to ITC. Table 6, 7, 8, 12, and 13. Right? Now, if we just talk about table number 6, right? In table 6A especially, if you look into 6A, this is an auto-populated field. This will show all the ITC which you have claimed in the same financial year. So whatever the ITC, see, if you remember, when it comes to liability, the picture was little different. In GSTR9 form, you have to always show the turnover related to that particular financial year. But the ITC doesn't work in the same way, because there could always be cases which was like kind of, let's say, ITC which was related to current financial year, but you have received that goods or the services maybe in the next financial year, right? If that's the case, then this ITC doesn't belong to current financial year. This belongs to the next financial year, right? So here, don't confuse yourself with that part. So here, the relevant important point here is whatever the ITC you are claiming in 3B of the current financial year will form part of your table number 6. So what exactly we are going to do? If there was some ITC related to, or especially which is actually shown or claimed in FY 2021, that will be shown in table number 6A, and at below, which is from table number 6B to, if you look into table number 6H, that just is a breakup of all the ITC which you have claimed, whether it was from registered one or maybe reversals, and all that information will be shown over here. So that is how table number 6 has to be shown, right? Then when we just talk about table number 7, if there was some ITC reversals which you have done, right? Again, it's a reversal. So if there are some reversals, let's say as per roll number 42 or 43 and all, if there were some ITC reversals which you have done in GSTR3B form, this is what we are doing. Here we are not saying what was like wrong or what was right. Here we are just saying, if you have done some ITC reversal in your GSTR3B form for FY 2021, just showing over here, which is in table number 7, right? Up now, people usually get confused. Okay, there is also as per section 17.5 block credit. I have shown something in my GSTR3B under that 17.5 block credit, but that I have not done as a reversal. That was just for declaration purpose. So we know in GSTR3B there is something which we show as a declaration purpose that is never added or subtracted anywhere in GSTR3B form. Remember, don't add it over here. In table number 7, you just have to show that information where you have actually done the reversal, which means you have reduced that information from the ITC. Only then this information will come here. Otherwise, that information will not form part of this, right? Now, the next is table number 8. Table number 8 may, this will as per like your table number, this is computed basis your 2A or maybe 2B, whatever you say. So this is nothing but anyhow government provides a document level information also over here, that what are the document beside this. So table 8A, this is auto populated field, and below you are just showing the breakdown. So in table 8B, you're saying, okay, what is the total ITC as per your table number 6B and the 6H. And when we just refer to 6B and 6H, it is just from registered, right? whatever the supplies you have received from the registered supplier, which is form part of 6B, or you have reclaimed. What is reclaimed? Sometime I would have claimed it, but then I have reversed it, but then again I have reclaimed it because of that 180 ka provision. Then that information will form part of your table number, especially 8B. So that is what they're going to show. Then if there was some ITC, right? Now, because the many times, as I gave one simple example, let's say on 31st March, your supplier issued the invoice, but since you have not received the goods, so this information was forming part of table number 8A, assuming supplier was complying. So if this information was forming part of table 8A, but 8B may this will not form part of this, because in 3B you have not even claimed till March since you have not received the goods. But you, let's say you have claimed in the month of April, which is April 2021. In that particular case, that information will form part of table number 8C, which means all the ITC which was there, or information which is there in 8A, but you have claimed in the next, which is April to September, then it will form part of 8C. Then it will show differences. Obviously, there will always be differences. So if you feel that there is not going to be any difference, that's not going to be a case. Okay, there's no problem having differences over here. Then in 88, if you look into 8E, there was some ITC, the differences, but you know that you are not going to claim it, or you have not availed it. And why would you not availed it? Maybe some information was coming in 8A, but it was a kind of block credit for me. That 17.5 wala, that will come maybe in 8E. Then maybe but available, but is ineligible. Sorry, 8E may you have not availed it, you forgot to claim it, and the deadline for even claiming ITC is lapsed. In that particular case, it will come in 80, and where it is ineligible, it will form part of your table number 8F, right? So this is how we are required to show all this information, but this is how we are in fact required to even fill in this information. And if there was some ITC which was related to same this year, FY 2021, but you have claimed in the next year, so that information will form part of table number 13. And if there was some reversal related to current year, but you have done in the next year, again that information will form part of table number 12, right? So this is how we are required to show all this information in different table of your GSTR-9 form in relation to ITC. But things is not getting over here, because I know there would be a lot of questions, especially when it comes to ITC in your mind. And let me just talk about that particular part, because that actually confuses us. Now, let me talk about one simple part, right? Many times you would always be worried, okay, I know that in table number, if we just talk about the ITC part, right? Simple part was, there was a case where my supplier, what he has done, let's say if my supplier is compliant, then we don't have to worry about. Something was coming in my 2A, and I also claimed my I also claimed my ITC in my GSTR. 3B things was perfectly okay, which is an ideal case. Then we don't have to worry about, because in table 6A something will come up, and I will also show the total information as a breakup. But the main problem comes in, if now I will specially tell, when we look into GSTR-2B. We know in GSTR-2B, 3B is actually auto-computed basis 2B. Is that true? When we look into table number 6, right, you will be wondering that table 6 generally consists of all the ITC, right? What if I also have a credit notes? See, earlier people, what they were doing, if there were some invoices and credit note, usually they show the net figure in table number 4. That is what they were doing, which was perfectly okay also. In that case, if you just see, while you look into table number 6, right? Let's say there was, again, simple case, 100 rupees ka purchase, 20 rupees ka credit note. What you are going to do, you are going to just claim 80 rupees ka ITC. If you have done this way, right? If you have claimed the ITC in this way in your GSTR 3B, then you don't have to worry about, because when you look into table number 6, in 6A, you are going to get 80 rupees. You will show the breakdown also as an 80 rupees. Perfectly okay. When you go into table number 8A, again in table number 8A also, because the net figure, right? So invoice minus credit note from that supplier. So which means ultimately it's coming like 80 rupees. If you look into 8B also, it's going to populate from table number 6. So there also it's 80. So difference will be 0. There is no problem. But problem comes in. After this 2B was launched, if you have seen what they have done, ITC reversal. The credit notes have been shown under the ITC reversal rather than the net figure. Now, if you look into table number 6, it shows 100 rupees. Table number 7 have that 20 rupees. That's true. But when you go to table number 8A, 8A only have 80 rupees. It's showing as a net figure. But when you look into table number 8B, 8B comes from 6 and it's not 6 minus 7. In that particular case, if you look into table number 8A, you are going to, if you look into table number 8B, you are going to get 100 rupees and not 80 rupees. So there will be discrepancies over here. So this is going to create another important, I would say, a challenge while you're preparing or actually making your GSTR-9. So this is something you should keep in your mind, that here there are differences. Just properly reconcile your 2Bs, especially the table 8A of GSTR-9. You have a document level information, reconcile with that books of accounts, know that how you have claimed it, and keep this properly with you as a documentation, so that tomorrow if officer asks that why there is a difference, you should be able to explain them, right? So this is another important point which you should always understand. And I know there is also again case study when it comes to ITC, but maybe we'll also take that up, or we'll just schedule another meeting for that to explain, because I don't want to hurry and this is a really very important part. So maybe you can keep on posting your carries, so I will be answering over here, and meanwhile I will just ask Gitika from my team to take over the stage and maybe just show a small live demo of how you can prepare GSTR-9 and 9C using clear text, because from there you will know that how the checklists are automatically done and how this can actually help you in making sure that you file an accurate GST returns. So maybe Gitika, over to you. And I could also see that people who are asking about if we can get the PPT. Yes, we will be sharing the PPT with all of you. And I would obviously recommend that here, especially when it comes to the checklist and the case study for ITC, you should solve this. And there is also some case studies for spillover effects. And I'm saying spillover as previous year, the next year, the current year. So there are some spillover effect also. You should always look into that, try to answer yourself so that you know that you are filing your 9 correctly, right? So over to you, Gitika.
Thank you, Subi. I'll just present myself. Yeah, I'll just present my screen. Thank you. Hello everyone. I'm Gitika Vadvani from Clear. I'll just show you the short demo of GSTR-9 and 9C. Yeah. I hope my screen is visible and I'm audible. Yes.
Yeah, Gitika, you're audible.
Yeah. So you just need to come to gst.cleartext.in. You need to put your email ID and the password. You just need to log in. You can click on view all clients. You can add GSTINs from here also. Okay. So then you need to go to home. Here you can see there is Gstr9 Dashboard itself. From this dashboard is also available at our desktop app. Here you can also log in if you want. If you click on this dashboard, you will be able to see all the GSTINs of yours over here. And accordingly, you can select them in bulk also. Okay. And you can click on continue, and all the data of your GSTR9 will get downloaded. If you have not mentioned your user ID, password or something already, you can provide it here also. Not provided. and accordingly put the capture. And just click on fetch data from GSTR and it will automatically start downloading for all the three GSTRs. You can go to the dashboard, you can view it. And this is from non-OTP method. If you want, you can download the data from OTP method also. So you can see all the three GSTRs, the data is downloaded. Now you can click on any of one to click on proceed to filing and you will land over to the GSTR9 page itself of it. Accordingly, you can view these below reports also for GSTR9. Accordingly, if your GST9 data is there, you can even download it from here, and you can see there is some GST previous already some data is there from the previous year, and the for current year also, it's already there. Okay. Data is in progress. Computation is progress. And you can also add your books data over here, either through importing it through various options over here as per your convenience, or what you can do is like you can just go back. If you want, you can provide also the summary data. Okay. If you want, if you have Tally and if you want to download the data from Tally itself, so you can also go there. And what you can do is just click on File GSTR9 or anywhere from the View clients. From inside also, you can go to GSTR9. Okay. You can select the GSTR itself. Click on Proceed. Okay. Then you can go to the Invoices section and just click on bulk import of invoices. You can select the period as March. Okay. Click on continue. Select Tally connector. And your Tally connector will be connected. Just can edit the from date to 2020, April 2020. Check this box, save this, and you can even import sales and purchase together, and you can start importing your data from Tally itself. And if after that, when you come here and you click on refresh summary, it will automatically refresh it. And all the data will be provided over here itself. Now, you can, if as you can see here, there are two ways of auto computing it. Currently, it's auto computed only using 3B and 9. You can also auto compute it using GSTR1, 2A, 3B, and 9 also. Okay. So as Surbi said, there is the 19 checklist, 19 checklist points over here. 14 are other observational found, and 4 are important observations which are there. And as soon as you can see there is some issue, you can just click on view more, and you will be able to see how, and the calculation is also over here. Okay, and you can even download this checklist guide from here itself by pressing here. Okay. Accordingly, you can edit it according as if you want. You can edit the form also, and you can generate the this form in Excel also in GSTR9. So you can see there are currently 8 issues found over here. So accordingly, you need to view and you need to check it, review it. and you will be also finding the calculations uh, in this checklist also. There are various calculations provided over here. If you want, you can see it over here also. Now you can click on download. Similarly, you can find all the calculations in the Excel as well, and all the different kinds of reconciliation reports also is there. You just need to click on. Just need to click on. You can even if you want, you could to see a particular session. You just click on go to sheet. You will be landed through to the sheet from where the data. If you want to see that particular sheet, okay, it's a summary. All the data is here, okay, and even the comparison reports are also here. You can check them. You can see the calculations also, and accordingly, you can also prepare the 9C form of it also from here itself before even filing GSTR9. Just need to go to file GSTR9 file returns. Just click on prepare 9C, select the GSTN, click on proceed, autofill data from clear tax data. So whatever is there in your G9, you will be able to see that data in accordingly in your 9C also. So you will be able to also finalize your 9C before even filing 9, and accordingly you can make changes. If you want, you can also make same changes in your GST 9, and accordingly you can file both your 9 and 9C. Thank you. Over to you, Sylvie.
Thank you, Gitika, for showing the demo. And still, in case you have any query, you can always reach out to us at gstsupport@cleartext.in. That is our mail ID. So you can always ask your query. And I could see there were some of the questions, so I could not see that question. But still, if you see, though I tried to answer all of the queries, but still, if there were some queries which I have not answered, just mail us at gstsupport@cleartext.in. And in case you want to have a demo on your own data in respect of GSTR9 and 9C, so you can always request for the same. So we can you can even call us, or maybe even fill in the form. We'll just circulate that on the chat box, so that our team can reach out to you, and you can even get a demo for the same. And along with that, if you just try to just log into cleartext.in/GST, and if you just go to GSTR9 flow, there you will just see a small video. So that video will actually explain about the benefits and in fact the main points you should always look into while you're preparing your GSTR9. So that is something I will always recommend, that just go with, I think there is just 2 minutes video. You should always look into that 2 minutes video to understand about the entire G9 form. Right, so that is something you should always refer to. And I could also see there is people just asking about the PPT. Yeah, sure. Automatically, once this the session is ended, you will also receive the PPT whatever we have used over your mail ID. So you will be receiving the PPT also on the mail ID which you have registered on the on the form while you were registering for the webinar. So on that same mail ID, you will also be receiving the PPT. So with this, we like to end our session. And still, as I told you, if you have any query, please ping us at gstsupport@cleartext.in. Thank you very much, and hope this session helps you. Still, if you feel like you want more topics, or you want some topics you want to suggest at that where you need some webinars, feel free to reach out to us so that we can even try to have the sessions on the topic you want. Thank you very much.